for this with the station, which is about the age I was when I stopped coming with my parents and started coming with the radio station. So this is tradition, and that's why we're here today. And a big thanks out to those that support this tradition. Of course, Bader Mechanical Services, big shout out to them. Civic Hall Performing Arts Center, PCCU, Richmond Art Museum, A-plus Signs, Scaretti Pyrotechnics, local fireworks crew putting on the show tonight.
Yeah, and it's going to be a fabulous show. Jeremy Scaretti has promised a spectacular ground show tonight. You're only going to be able to see it down here at Roosevelt Hill.
Absolutely. And of course, none of it would be possible without American Legion, Harry Ray Post 65. Big shout out to that group and the veterans in that group, because that's why we truly are here today and celebrating our freedom.
80 years of fireworks from Harry Ray Post 65. Absolutely amazing.
And they do it all for free, and they raise the money, and they come out here and they put on this amazing display for over 8 decades just because they want to celebrate the freedoms that we have as Americans.
Yeah, and if you want to donate to the fireworks, we've got some Fireworks 5K t-shirts for sale, $5 a piece. All that money is going to go to the fireworks for next year. Of course, if you just want to make a donation, we'll take that up here as well.
We also have some awesome limited edition America 250 stickers up here. You can come up and grab one of those as well. But we will get back with a forecast coming up, because coming up we're going to be talking about the Bicentennial Time Capsule that's coming up at 6:30. Your Storm Team 2 forecast is on the way next, right here on G1013.
Hear ye, Richmond. A celebration 250 years in the making. I'm Henry C. from Stoops Buick GMC of Muncie. And this month, we're going all out with low payments. Right now, you could get up to $5,000 more than Kelly Blue Book value, based on the nicer, newer car you pick. That's right. More for your trade, which means less for your monthly payment. This is your chance to upgrade into something better without stretching your budget. You could even experience the new 2026 Buick Envista for just $329 per month. Credit concerns, trade issues, payment stress, we handle that. But don't wait. When the celebration ends, this offer is gone. I'm Henry C., and I'm your dealer for the people. See all the celebration-ready rides at stoopsforthepeople.com. That's stoopsforthepeople.com.
Credit requires bank approval. Vehicle purchase price determines actual trade allowance. Negative equity may be refinanced. Example stock number 096821384 per month for 84 months at 5.24% APR. GMS purchase applicable incentives plus tax title and doc at 284. Kelly Blue Book and KBB registered trademarks of Kelly Blue Book Company, which is not affiliated with Stoops Buick GMC Muncie. Offer ends July 31st, 2026.
Summer fun comes to the Cedar Coffee in New Paris. Get ready for the Summer Bash July 10th and 11th. The Cedar Coffee will host a huge makers market with lots of vendors, live music both nights, food trucks, and a cruise-in featuring classic cars, Jeeps, bikes, and bugs. And don't forget the fireworks Saturday night. Ask about weekend camping so you won't miss a minute of the Cedar Coffee Summer Bash, all night Friday and all day into the night Saturday, July 10th and 11th at the Cedar Coffee, next to Natural Springs Resort in New Paris.
From the Storm Team 2 Weather Center, your updated forecast for Richmond, Connorsville, and the Whitewater Valley.
Well, it looks like we're pretty good throughout the night. First chance of showers isn't until about 11 o'clock tonight. Currently sitting at 86. About the time fireworks go off, it's going to be about 77 out here. So it's going to be a nice night. No rain in the forecast so far. Like I said, just like a 40% chance. Coming up at 11. So get out here to Roosevelt Hill. It's Freedom Jam. We're up at the top broadcasting live. Scott Epic, Hoover, Rick Duncan's around here somewhere, Keith Cassidy, and we want to see you. So get out here and get your spot on the hill and join us as we get ready for new music coming up from Bruno Mars on G1013.
A Duncan Media Station.
For just a chance to win your heart, you could set the bar beyond the stars.
Ready? All right, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Roosevelt Hill at Glen Miller Park, for Freedom Jam. And we're so glad you're here today. It is a hot one, I know. Thank you for being out here and braving the heat and being part of this. Something very special. Obviously, we've got a lot of very cool music coming up. We've got amazing fireworks from Harry Rapo 65. That's on the way at 10 o'clock tonight. But first things first, we're going to open up something 50 years in the making. 50 years ago, 1976, they buried a time capsule in Richmond, and today it's time to open that up. To do the honors, we turn things over to Mayor Ron Oler.
Thank you, Rick. Appreciate it. All right. So as you can see by this plaque, all the way back here, you can't see, but you're about to see. If you haven't seen the QR codes posted around the hill, we are live streaming this. So there's a couple of hundred TV screens up on the hill. Pull out your smartphone, pull out your phone so you can watch live everything we're doing. So we're live streaming on the City of Richmond, Indiana Facebook page. And if you don't have Facebook, our YouTube channel is at City of Richmond 4294. So we're streaming it live now. You can also watch it again later. City of Richmond, Indiana Facebook page, YouTube at City of Richmond 4294. Catch the QR codes around the hill. Watch it now live or watch it later. So thank you everyone for allowing us to do this. Thank you G1013, Rick Duncan, Duncan Media. It's really awesome to be out here today. We were talking a while back. We have this plaque. This is in City Hall, on the property of City Hall, and it says, on July 4th, 1976, the Bicentennial Committee gathered a bunch of artifacts and planted a time capsule. And it was to be opened on July 4th, 2026, 50 years later. Most of the people there that day probably didn't think they'd still be around 50 years later, but we have a couple of them on the stage with us. You're welcome. So everybody knows Dana Waggle. Hi, Dana. And then Ken Weber. They were present that day, and they were part of the committee, too. So Rick and I were talking, and we were supposed to open this today, July 4, 2026, and what a better place to open it than celebrating our nation's 250th birthday right before Freedom Jam. So you've got your phones out, you're streaming online, you're watching what's happening. So the committee decided after a period of time on what to put in the capsule. So we have a newspaper clipping from July 4th, 1976, and also July 5th, 1976. And it listed kind of the categories of some of these items. They divide them into the 6 W's. The Who was the first W, representing the people of Richmond, and a bicentennial tabloid, Chamber of Commerce brochures, and a copy of the weekly graphic. Thank you, sir. And the Where documented the community itself. There's street maps and all kinds of other interesting things. I guess there's an aerial photograph of the city of Richmond from 1976. The Why reflected a community's faith and values, a Gideon Bible, a cassette recording, and signatures. So there's a scroll. The local Boy Scouts gathered a whole signature and a scroll reaffirming the ideals of 1776 with a lot of signatures. The Whence celebrated Richmond's heritage. There's a museum brochure, a bicentennial sketchbook. The What captured everyday life. There's a rose from Hill's Roses that's preserved, and a cracker from Richmond Baking, a label from Nettle Creek Industries, if you remember Nettle Creek, and all kinds of other information. The Whither looked toward the future, so evidently there's a $2 bill in here and some other stuff. Now, before we open this remarkable piece of Richmond's history, I want to recognize the extraordinary effort that made it possible. This was not easy, folks. We went out in the spring and saw this and thought, how are we going to do this? So the plaque came off pretty easily. But removing the capsule became no small task. It took City of Richmond crews 4 days of careful planning an excavation to safely retrieve this vault without damaging it. So when the plaque came off, we saw a little bit of concrete and said, oh, we can chisel that away. So an hour or two of chiseling, that didn't work. Then we got out the Ryobi hammer drill, that didn't work. So we got some more equipment, and then we got down to it. You know, we thought there'd be just a little bit of concrete above it. No, there was like 6 inches of concrete above it. So we got down to it, and then it wouldn't pull out of its little vault. Tried everything, tried a winch, tried everything. So eventually, the Parks Department helped us out with a hammer drill, but eventually the Street Department came with a backhoe. Came with a backhoe and hoisted it out with a chain. It was so tight in there, it was crazy. We were concerned that because it sat in concrete for 50 years, the contents would be damaged. We were also had another problem though. The newspaper article talked about the combination was given to a certain person in an envelope, which is lost to history. The manufacturer has been bought out 2 or 3 times. The company in California had some records. We have a serial number and a model number, but they couldn't find it. So finally, thanks to our friends at Wilson Lock and Key, after a couple hours of work, they were able to drill it out in precise locations, not that they know how to crack safes or anything, drive in the pins and get the lid off. We did this a couple of days ago because we didn't want you to be disappointed. We know a couple of our neighboring counties opened theirs live and saw that the contents are ruined. Ours are not ruined. Ours are in great shape. These guys here, you got to give them big applause. This thing was not just set in concrete, it was above the grade. So there's a concrete, what do you want to call it, table above it. So it was above water the whole time. So the contents are great. Now, when we opened it that day at Wilson Lock and Key, we had Carrie George from the Wayne County Historical Museum and Archivist, and there were some very fragile items inside that we have removed because the forecast for the day was not good. And there's some very fragile items that would not like humidity, so those are not in here. The rose is not in here. The cracker is not in here. So some of the fragile items we want to keep in climate control. So a couple of things are going to happen after this today. All these items, we're going to create a podcast, our Inside Richmond, the City's Pulse podcast. We'll create a podcast and we'll get Carrie or somebody from the museum back and we'll podcast and document all the items. After that airs, the Wayne County Historical Museum is going to set up a display for this in a display case with all these items, and they are really cool. I mean, that rose, I don't know how they preserved a Hills rose head in a baby food jar with a typewritten label, not computer printed, typewriter. So some of the stuff that came out, all this was typewritten. It was really cool. So I got a big shout out to Matt Keller, our Director of Public Operations, and his staff who did a great job. Denise Ress and the Parks Department, who are huge here tonight. T.L. Bozell and the Street Department, also huge here tonight. We would not have gotten this out in one piece without them. So give them a round of applause while you're at it, too. So before I have Dana and Ken pop the lid off, I have a letter here from the City of Richmond American Revolution Bicentennial Committee. It was chaired by Dr. George Blakey, co-chaired by Thomas Reed, also Joan Vigran, if you remember Vigrans, and Kenneth Weber, who is here with us today. And Dana Waggle was around too. Great. So July 4th, this is also on a typewriter, by the way. This is a copy. The original is safe. I'm not getting fingerprints on the original. July 4th, 1976. To the Wayne County Museum and the people of Richmond in the year 2026. So imagine 50 years ago, George Blakely, Dr. Blakely sat at a typewriter and said, I'm going to write a letter to the people of July 4th, 2026 and pray to God that it survives in this vault. And it did. This time capsule was made possible through a grant from the Hayes Research Foundation. It is situated on a site given and prepared by the Veterans Council and the City of Richmond. Its contents and preparation were supervised by the Richmond JCs and the Bicentennial Committee. We hope the collective contents will be a representative without being exhaustive portrait of the people of Richmond in this 200th year of American independence. Please display and preserve this fragment of 1976 with our best wishes. Sincerely, Dr. George T. Blakely, chairman. How cool is that? All right, so you've seen the plaque. We'll have the plaque. This bicentennial, everybody remember the bicentennial seal? This was on top of it. And then we eventually got this lid off of it. Combination was broken, everything was bad. But thanks to Will Smith, we got it off. So Ken, Dana, you want to start pulling out some goodies, see what we got in there? Now, there's one thing I'm looking for. We all may suspect, if you heard me on the radio Friday morning with Rick Duncan, I wonder if there's a sealed letter in here, somebody confessing to a crime 50 years ago because they knew they wouldn't be around. Not one of these guys, but I wonder if somebody snuck something in there like who robbed the bank, who did this, who did that. We don't know. We don't know. Can you reach in from the top or you want me to lay it down? You okay? Let's see what we got. We the Dreamers, world premiere. Jamie Lee Cooper. Gosh, this stuff smells strong. I wish you could smell-o-vision. So a musical, the Bicentennial Concert. Can you, Bicentennial Concert, and get that on video? What else you got? Oh, the Palladium item. The Bicentennial, 1776, 1976, American Revolution. We had a fife and drum corps out on the promenade. I'm going to see what's in here.
Well, that was the biggest Rose Festival celebration. It's the biggest Rose Festival celebration we've ever had. We had over 200 participants in the Rose Festival parade that year to commemorate the 200 years. A lot of things went on, including this time capsule, during that time of the Rose Festival.
Some of us might remember this, the People Home and Savings Bank, the cheese grater building, they were advertising having put that siding on, and now we just took it off. Sorry, it's kind of funny. What else is in here? This is kind of cool. I'm sorry. I'm going to look. We have a catalog from Earlham College, 1976, of course. Oh, part 1 and part 2, Earlham College. Oh, Veach's Toy Store. Dana, Perfect Circle. Ford. Esmond Shoes, which is still here today. Happy Birthday, America. Who did that one? Preble County Auto. No, Preble County's okay. Preble County Auto Dealers. Oh, there's a picture of the old bridge. Bicentennial biography of a business firm. So here's a list of all the leading business firms in Richmond area. I believe a Chamber of Commerce director's in there too. The Bicentennial Ball. So at the time, you want to talk about this, Ken?
Well, we had a bicentennial ball, and the reason I was looking for it is because the wife's and my name is in it, as dressing up in costume, courtesy of Civic Theater. That's where the costumes came from. That's what I was looking for.
Okay. Rotofeld's, F.W. Robinson. Earlham College, other catalog. Ooh, IU East. IU East, 1975 to 1977 bulletin. I wonder how much tuition was. Indiana Vocational Technical College, now known as Ivy Tech Community College. Richmond Community Schools. Oh, what's this? Any school board members here today? So, Richmond Community Schools, comparative tax rates, 387, 324, teaching salary schedule. If you had a bachelor's degree as a teacher, your salary was $8,588 a year. If you had a master's degree plus, you can make $9,601 a year. President of the School Trustees, Virginia Schuessler. Vice President, Dr. Richard Sieber. Richard Brannigan, Secretary. Stanley Clutie, Member. Doris Miller. Paul Patterson. Joan Vigran. So we have a trivet.
Cast by
Swain Robinson cast 1,776 commemorative trivets. I wonder how many of those are still around.
June Tripp was a designer. Pattern was made by Curtis Coyle, and then Charlie Robinson made them. And as we said, 1,776, it paid for all of the bicentennial events.
Oh, nice. So they made those as a fundraiser. Oh, there's that $2 bill. You know that's still good today.
Still good.
What's the series? 1976 series, worth $2. Here's the Rose Festival brochure. So he said that was the biggest Rose Festival ever.
That is it.
There was also a list, because I was interested in it, of the Richmond JC's roster from 1975-76. So you can see it at the museum also.
All right, Fred First Ford, Carefree Travel, Lucky Steer Family Restaurants, Coca-Cola, and all the events. Wow. One of the things I don't see on here for the Rose Festival is Freedom Jam and massive fireworks. 40 minutes of fireworks coming tonight at 10 o'clock. The biggest fireworks display Richmond's ever seen. So we'll pack this stuff up and we'll get it all on a podcast. And again, there's more stuff that was delicate. They didn't want to get wet. We'll have that. Yes. You want to say something else about grandkids or something?
Oh, they asked me about grandkids and what I passed along since I was a Horizon chairman, and memory doesn't serve me right, so I wrote it down. 2 children, 6 grandchildren, 13 great-grandchildren, and 1 great-great-grandchildren. So I've done a bit of the population.
I'm not doing that well, Ken. I have 12 grandkids and 2 greats. It was interesting. Our daughter was here about 2 weeks ago, attending a wedding in the family, and we mentioned the time capsule, and she says, "Oh, I remember that." She was 9 years old at the time.
It was interesting. I did plan it for 50 years instead of 100 so that I might be here. And I am.
Can you guys tell us what the weather was like that day?
Beautiful, but not as hot.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay, sunny day, not as hot. All right, good deal. So I can't wait to get all the items out into our podcast. That'll come out sometime week after next. And then eventually everything will be cataloged, marked, and on display. Like I said, the rose is pretty cool to see. Not much left of the cracker from Richmond Baking. There's a plastic bag, and you can see there once was a cracker. But let's talk about that. Kiwanis. This was led by the JCs, so if Kiwanis or a group like Kiwanis is interested, I certainly will. We have the hole in the ground. We can get another one of those. We can get another plaque. We can do a 250. We'll talk about it. I heard that. You heard that, people. We'll talk about it. We're going to work on a 250 semi-quincentennial capsule.
One of the items that I remembered, or maybe the only item I remembered until it was open, was that week's current TV guide. So that might be interesting to look at.
People in the audience are going, what's the TV guide? Okay, you used to not have a channel that told you what was on future channels, and you had a printed magazine that told you what show was on at what time, because you couldn't stream it on demand. You had to wait for it to happen. Patience.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, America. Happy birthday.